Purvarang, the preliminaries to a dramatic spectacle, had a very old tradition, almost coterminous with the beginnings of Natya. The NATYASHASTRA devotes a whole chapter to the description of the Purvaranga. The items of the Purvaranga can be grouped in two parts. The first 9 that are supposed to be performed antaryavnika, not before the spectators, and the later 9 or 10 which are presented bahiryavnika, directly to the spectators. Now we will see the preparatory items, the antaryavnika items. Group 1 consists of the following items presented in due order. The first one is pratyahara. As per the NATYASHASTRA definition, this means distribution of the musical instruments and sitting arrangement of musicians at the back of the stage. At the beginning of the performance, the musical instruments are brought on the stage and the musicians and the singers take their specially assigned seats. Their places are arranged near the wall and between the two doors of the Nepatya Griha. This special arrangement of musicians, their instruments and the singers is called Kutapasya Vinyasa. The second item is Avatarana. In the second item, Avatarana, the singers, especially the female singers, come out on the stage and occupy their assigned places. In Pratyahar, the musical instruments are brought out and placed in their assigned places by the musician. And in Avatarana, the vocal singers come out on the stage to take their special places. The third item of Purvaranga is Ashravana. It consists in adjusting the musical instruments for playing them in due manner. The fifth item is Vaktra Pani. This is trying out the drum beats in preparation of rhythm patterns, tal, to be used. Moving the fingers and the palm of the hand over the surface of the drum, mridanga, to test its tuning and trying the rhythmic pattern is technically what is called Vakatrapani. The sixth item is Parighatana. Tuning the strings of the lute in order to bring it in harmony with the music to be presented is done in this item. The seventh is Sangotana. In this item, preparation is made for rehearsing the different hand poses to be used in marking time on the percussion instruments. The eighth one is Marga Sarita. So far, the different instruments are separately set, tuned and tried. In this item, the drums and string instruments are for the first time played together, both for testing the musical harmony and also as a preparation of musical rendering. The last one is Asarita. The definition says that this item is intended to show the division of rhythmic beats in a measured portion of time. But we can see that all the items so far indicate a musical preparation, and this is followed by Geet Vidhi, presentation of a song. Asarit must therefore be regarded as the beginning of the first full musical piece, vocal and instrumental, which further develops into Gitaka. Thus, the first group of the Purvarang Angas is devoted to arranging the instruments on the stage, tuning and adjusting them, trying them out separately, and doing the preliminary vocal alap. With this preparation done, all the instruments can be played together, and this would be followed by rendering a full musical piece comprising singing of songs to the accompaniment of swar vadyas and tal vadyas. These Geet fully rendered vocally and with instrumental accompaniment mark a hiatus between the two groups of Purvaranga items. It is called Nirgita and Bahirgita. Now we will see the presented items. Bahir Yavanika Anga. Group 2 of the Purvarang items comprises 9 angas, and they are intended to be presented before the spectators. These in due order are Utthapana. This ang is so called because the technical preparations being over and full music being presented, the performers are now ready to present the following angas with the mode of drama, that is to say, using recitative portions and acting. This is the base of play production, and since the Purvarang items are now raised to the level of dramatic and representational technique, the opening ang is rightly called Utthapana. It is an establishment of the dramatic mode which will have to be used in the entire play production. The second item is Parivartana. Musically, Parivarta is a round of 4 sannipat or rhythmic beats, each having 8 kal or matras. As a performance, the Sutradhar offers here salutations to the deities in the 4 quarters as well as the principal deities of the Natya by walking round the stage with graceful dance steps. The movements are connected with the musical rhythmic beats. 4 parivartak make up this item. The first parivart is purely musical and is performed in slow tempo, sthit or vilambit laya. At the end of the third sannipat, the drums are played together. The second parivart is performed in middle tempo, madhyam laya. At the end of the first and the beginning of the second sannipat, the Sutradhar enters the stage with his 2 assistants, Pari Pashvik. The Sutradhar carries the flowers with him. The assistants hold a water jar and the jarjar respectively. All are consecrated, purified, clad in white garments. They hold the Vaishnav pose with all the grace of the body, have a pleasant look and adbhut glance. The Sutradhar then takes 5 steps forward in measure with the full musical beat and using the dance mode. to approach the Brahma Mandal located at the center of the stage. He offers the flowers in the mandala. Then he performs 3 salutations, apparently for Brahma, Mahesh, and Vishnu, the principal deities of the Natya. In the third Parivarta, the Sutradhar circumambulates the Brahma Mandala. The walking round is done by using Suchichari and Veda, that is, a dance mode. Since the 3 Vandanas are done by touching the head and the joined knees on the ground, a ceremonial purification is done, calling the assistant holding the water jar by sipping water, achpan, and sprinkling it on the body. The Sutradhar then takes up the jarjar at the exact moment when the musical Sannipat comes. The third Parivart is done in fast tempo, Drutalaya, and performance here begins with Pradakshina and ends with Jarjar Grahana. The fourth Parivart is done in fast tempo. The Sutradhar holds the jarjar like a balance, and sacred formulas and verses are addressed to it as part of ritual worship. The Sutradhar then moves back towards the musical orchestra, beginning the foot movement by lifting the left foot, followed by the movement of the right foot, thus reaching back in 5 dance steps. Like the jarjar, the kutab also is offered ceremonial worship. At this time, a Parivartani Dhruva in Ati Jagati meter is sung. The Sutradhar follows the music and rhythm of the Dhruva song to walk with graceful dance steps in each direction in order to offer salutations to the 4 guardian deities of the quarters: Indra, the east; Yama, the south; Varuna, the west; and Kubera, the north. These salutations are done by taking 3 steps, starting with the left and turning on the right foot towards a particular quarter. Isha or Shiva is to be saluted with the masculine right step forward, Janardhan or Vishnu with feminine left, and Brahma with a neuter step, right foot not much lifted up. When the Sutradhar has finished this performance, a 4th man, Chaturthakar, enters the stage with flowers. He is to offer ceremonial worship to the jarjar, to the musical orchestra and the musicians, and also to the Sutradhar. The foot movements of the 4th man during this worship have also to be arranged to synchronize with the playing of the drums. No song is sung here. Only meaningless syllables are recited along with the instrumental music. The 4th man makes his exit when he has completed the worship. The performance is concluded by singing an Avakrushta Dhruva in Chaturastha Tal and in slow tempo. The Parivarta uses a musical quartet. Each line is played in 8 kal, at the end of which comes the Sannipat, the rhythmic clapping. This means that the total duration of each Parivarta is 32 kala. It is within this musical time that the performance is assigned to each parivarth have to be completed. The next item is Nandi. As per definition, the Nandi is a benediction, a verse containing veneration and praise offered to gods, Brahmins, king, and men connected with the playhouse, including the poet, producers, and spectators. The fourth item is Shushkav Krushta. The singing of the Nandi is followed by a Dhruva song. It is called Shushka Ava Krushta. Shushka or dry because it uses meaningless syllables to sing melody. Avakrushta signifies a particular class of metrical composition. The text describes it with some details. The main and the only purpose of this dhruva seems to be to lead musically to the next item, where verses in honor of the judger are to be recited. This is the reason why it is described as Jarjar Shlok Darshika in the text. The fifth item of Bahir Yavanika items is Rangadwar. This ang is called a gateway to stage production for the obvious reason that the elements of histrionics pertaining to recitation and body movements and gestures are for the first time used while doing the performance. The item includes the following: a verse recited in solemn tone in honor of the deity whose worship is currently held. Alternately, a verse in praise of the deity worshipped by the king of the place where the performance is held, or it may be in praise of God Brahma. Then the verses for Jarjara are recited. One set from the earlier Jarjar Puja as a prelude to the next item Chari, and another set of verses similar in content though not using same words as a part of Rangadwar. The next item is Chari. It is essentially a foot movement in dance technique and is used here to evoke the sentiments of love and terror. After addressing the verses of praise to the Jarjar, the Sutradhar bends it low. At this time, the two assistants move back to the west. This means that the Chari and also the Mahachari is to be presented by the Sutradhar alone. Here, Adita Dhruva is sung, which apparently was used for the Lasya dance which Shiva performed with Uma. It is to be understood that the poses and the movements that Sutradhar uses in the performance of the Chari are feminine, graceful, and attuned to the sentiment of love. The next item is Mahachari. It is similarly performed by the Sutradhar alone, but since it is to evoke the sentiment of fury, there is an appropriate variation. The Dhruva used here is Chaturasra. It is presented in fast tempo and the Sutradhar steps are accompanied by drum beats. He moves 5 steps forward as before, but the steps are wide. Keeping his face towards east, he again takes 3 more steps. The foot movement beginning with the left, followed by the right. Then he is to recite a verse depicting the furious sentiment as he brings his feet together. After the recitation, he moves back 3 steps in order to present the next item with the help of his assistants. The 8th item is known as Trigat. Literally, it means what pertains to 3. The 3 men's talk. The Sutradhar and his 2 assistants enter into an amusing conversation at this stage, which suggestively leads to the establishment of the dramatic theme and composition taken up for production. The Vidushak is for the first time mentioned here, and obviously he is one of the 2 assistants who has been present on the stage all along with the Sutradhar, but who now plays the role of a jester. The Vidushak's walk and talk is full of inconsistent statements, argumentative, using enigmatical or equivocal statements. He is also to indulge in clapping of hands when he has asked a question or made an argument. The Angas of Purvarang up to this stage have been purely of ritual and musical nature and aimed at entertainment. Trigata and Prarochana that follows it have a different objective and directly relate to the business of drama production. It is also be presumed that the Trigat must have used some form of Prakrit or the spoken language, at least for the Vidushaka. The last item is Prarochana. This is in fact the last item of the Purvarang. The laudation or pleasing appeal consists in the Sutradhar inviting the spectators to witness the dramatic performance. In order to ensure success for his production, he hints once again and directly at the plot of the play. He appeals to the audience, and if his word merely were not enough, he would use proper reasoning and arguments to justify the spectator's interest in and attention to the production. Prarochana thus consists of 2 parts: an invitation and appeal to the audience, and a direct hint at the theme or content of the play. After this invitation and appeal, the Sutradhar returns to the green room with the assistants after completing the Purvaranga, and another member of the troupe called Sthapaka enters the stage to introduce the play. This Sthapaka or Kavya Prastavak, as he is also called, resembles the Sutradhar in all respects, that is to say, in makeup, costume, movements and gaits, and in the manner of delivering speeches. He imitates the Sutradhar. He enters the stage to the tune of an appropriate Praveshiki Dhruva, sung in the middle tempo. He too performs the Chari and recites verses in praise of gods and Brahmins, verses which are sweet and capable of conveying varied sentiments. As part of Chari and Mahachari, these are expected to convey the emotions of love and heroism. It is possible also that he sings a song to induce receptive mood in the heart of the audience. This performance of pleasing the audience, Rang Prasadana, is similar to the Praroshna of the Purvarang. The Sthapak then turns to his main business of introducing the play and the playwright. He is to declare the name of the poet, then introduce the particular play in production, speaking about its content and possibly of the characters that figure in it, as they happen to be the divine, human, or mixed according to the theme. He is then to open the play, that is, suggest the opening scene using different devices for such a purpose, alluding to the beginning and the seed of the dramatic plot. When this is over, he leaves the stage. Varieties of Purvaranga. The NATYASHASTRA first speaks of two varieties of Purvaranga, Chaturasra and Trayasra. The angs and the prescribed musical measures described so far refers to the Chaturasra variety. The angas and their performance in the Trayasra variety are similar. The difference comes in the employment of the instruments, movements, dhruva songs, tal and musical measure and rhythm. There is shortening. Two other variety, Shuddha and Chitra, are mentioned and the later is described in detail. In the Chitra variety of Purvaranga, there is considerable music and dance. The name Chitra is obviously due to the picturesque appearance of celestial persons and the variety of song and dance used in the performance. The Shuddha variety naturally would not use such elaborate song and dance, and this is what distinguishes it from the Chitra Purvaranga. Apparently, both Trayasra and Chaturasra varieties may be presented as pure or picturesque. But since Trayasra uses abridged measures of time, it appears that only Chaturasra was treated as a Shuddha and, if time permitted, as Chitra also.